In this example, we're given the same function that we just graphed, and we're asked to evaluate the following expressions. Now, normally, our input is a number, and that's the case in this first part, 2a. We're just putting negative 2/3 in to the function in place of x, right? So again, we're going to use parentheses and put the negative 2/3 in parentheses, whoops, 2/3, and square it, and then we're going to subtract 1. All right, so let's calculate that value. This means negative 2/3 times negative 2/3, which is a positive 4/9. Okay, we're taking negative 2/3 times negative 2/3. And then we're going to subtract 1. Now I can write 1 as 9/9. Okay, because I need a common denominator. And then 4/9 minus 9/9 is going to be a negative 5/9. All right, so that's the value of the function at negative 2/3. All right, now we can put other things other than numbers into the function. So all we're going to do is replace whatever we're saying is the input. This is now the input, and the input is h. And so we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to replace x with h. So this just becomes, now I can put parentheses around it, h squared minus 1, right? But you can see I don't really need the parentheses now. So I'm just going to write it as h squared minus 1. That's a little simpler. All right, we can put something in like negative x over 2. And again, this is the input. This is the input. It's not a number, it's negative x over 2, but we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to put the negative x over 2 in parentheses and square it, and then subtract 1. All right, so now let's simplify it. We're taking negative x over 2 times negative x over 2, right? So it's a negative times a negative, right? And then that just becomes positive x squared over 4. And then minus 1, which we could write as 4/4 if you want to. Now I could just leave it as that. That could be my answer, or I could write it as one single term. If I change the 1 into a 4/4, then I would get x squared minus 4 over 4. All right, so I'm just taking, that would be if I made this into 4/4. All right, but we don't have to. let me go back up. Either one of these is a perfectly fine answer. Either x squared over 4 minus 1, or the quantity x squared minus 4 all over 4. Okay, either one's fine. All right, so that's what we're doing. We're just putting, this is now the input to the function, and we're going to find the output with that input. All right, so I'm going to take x plus h, put it in parentheses. Oops, what's going on here? Had a little glitch with the computer there. So, all right. So I'm going to take my input and replace x with that input, but put it in parentheses. So I'm taking x plus h and replacing x and putting it in parentheses, and then I need to take that minus 1. All right, so I'm replacing x with x plus h. All right, let's simplify that. I need to square this out, right? So I'm going to square the first term. The middle term becomes first times last times 2. So 2hx and then plus h squared. I'm having a little difficulty with my computer, so hopefully I can finish out this video. We'll see what happens here. All right. All right. Now I probably actually don't need that those parentheses. So once I square it out, and then I'm going to subtract 1. All right. So this first part is the x plus x plus h squared, and then I have to subtract 1. Now this is just foiling it, right? I just took x plus h times x plus h. So if you need to do it that way, you can, but you'll find you'll get the same thing. And then I think that's really all I can do with that one, right? I've got an x term, I've got an and or again x squared term, we got x squared or h squared minus 1, and that's it. So that's good enough. That's simplified enough. All right, now I'm going to use that in the next part here because I'm asked to find f of x plus h minus f of x. All right, now we have f of x plus h. So I'm just going to copy that down. I get x squared plus 2hx plus h squared minus 1, and then I'm going to subtract f of x. I'm subtracting the whole thing, though, so I need to put it in parentheses. X squared minus 1 is f of x, but put it in parentheses. Put it in parentheses. All right, now let's see if we can simplify that a little bit. I need to remove those parentheses. 2hx plus h squared minus 1 minus x squared. All right, I'm just distributing the negative, so this becomes a plus 1. All right, now I can see some terms that will cancel, right? X squared minus x squared is 0, so I'll just cross those out. And then I have a minus 1 and a plus 1. Those will cancel as well. And what I have left is 2hx plus h squared. All right. One more. So again, I'm just replacing x with the new input. All right. So I've got this thing squared minus 1. That's my function, but now I'm putting in the square root of x. The square root of x squared is just x. Now it's actually a positive x. I could write it as the absolute value of x. We haven't talked about absolute values yet. But because of the fact that x has to be positive in order to take the square root of it, right? This is only defined for positive x's anyway. But if you square the square root, you'll always get a positive number. All right. So I'll leave the absolute values off. We haven't talked about that yet, but it would just be x minus 1. But x has to be greater than or equal to 0. All right, because I can't put anything out into the square root if it's not positive. All right, that takes care of example 2. So I will meet you in the next video.